Now then, where was I? The children that were scattered about the floor of the common room looked attentively at the old man, waiting for a tale of faraway lands and heroic exploits. Waterdeep. You were at Waterdeep. I suppose we were at the beginning then. The underdark, the grove, the sea, the palace, they all converged right there.
Harold, have you ever seen so many different kinds of people in such a big place? How hard could it be to find somebody that knows where Tailwind is?
You're a miracle, boy.
I shake my head and quietly to myself say, there's no such thing as miracles.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a running start. I'll count to 30. 1, 2.
30, and then I'm gonna run at him and attack him.
Fair's fair. You told me your history. I was born on that boat. Huh? That ship that your friend is dissecting.
I absolutely hate how chipper you always are.
And it'd be a good look on you, though.
If it's a riddle, I want to solve it. If it's a lock, I want to open it.
How do I make this quick? I'm a holy woman, and I'm looking for things that were taken from me and my people.
They could not begin to fathom the situation that they found themselves in. We'll both start recording at the same time.
Okay.
But don't we have to have like funny things that we say for Momo's recording so she can have a funny intro? Or is this serious episode? Do we have to be serious?
It's a very serious D&D podcast.
I was on Az's channel the other day because I was like, I'm just going to watch some Az. So I was just, hours later, I was like, oh, Jesus. I'm back in like 2017. I do stalk my friends, though. I stalk you guys all the time.
I don't like stalk you guys often, but I do like listen to Matt's streams to fall asleep. I'll listen to Realms a lot to fall asleep. Like even if I'm not working on it, I'll just listen to sessions that I've edited. Because I truly am the biggest fan of our podcast, but also it's just nice to hear us just like vibing as I drift off to
You
dreamland.
are our biggest fan, and that is just
Embarrassing, I know.
Oh, no. No, actually, it's not. Loving a project that you're a part of is... If everyone was that passionate about their projects, maybe no one would give up on their project.
Also, should we mention that it's a little bit more of an intimate session this time, so...
Oh, yes. We are missing Calder, we're missing Ellery, and we are missing Hawke. Calder and Ellery, it's because they haven't technically joined the party yet. And then Hawke, he cannot be here today, so we're doing a quick recap.
I'm taking some vacation time.
Taking some sweet holiday time.
Vacation.
All right. So if everyone is ready, I'm going to take us into the session. This is sort of the beginning for us in a lot of ways because this is going to tether what we've already done with what we are going to be doing. This is the connective tissue between where we started with this campaign and where we're going. Bring yourself back into the moment. Begin to think about your characters, about what they've been through, what they've recently discovered, having pulled themselves out of the sewers with that red lacquer box and discovering what it was that Phineas Fiddlescratch had sent them to retrieve. June has recovered her shield, only to have it taken once again, along with her freedom. Bring yourself back into the moment and focus on your character, what they want, what they need, and whether or not those two things align. your eyes open, having been deep within the trance, the world around you disappeared. Above, there is a canopy of trees that stretch above, high into the sky. The gray-silver bark of the trees that surround you is comforting, recognizable. The canopies are filled with silver blue leaves, and they sway in the breeze. A breeze that carries with it the weight of the endless seas beyond. Very gentle and light scent of salt and spray from the shoreline. It is beginning to cool, but the temperature here, the weather here, is stable. It doesn't change. It doesn't flow. There is a timelessness here, a permanency. Time does not wear things down, as they often do in the world beyond Evermeet. Permanency. These trees are ancient and beautiful, and the lush grass that is underneath you, a warm blanket that brings you comfort. Your gentle, fragile hands are intertwined with it. Your legs are pressed into your own body as you have curled yourself here, communing with the natural world around you. But this island that for the entirety of your life has been the only world that you've known, it seems like a shadow. It seems like an echo. That permanency, that stability, it all seems hollow. It doesn't hold life as the world outside does. The turmoil of change, storms, perfection. Perfection doesn't hold as much magic anymore. Past the grove, there are crystalline structures that surround this garden. The trees that are held here, these ancient trees. It is said that they hold the power of ancient days that no longer exist anywhere on Aber Terrell. These trees are the last vestiges of a world that has slipped into memory only. And your hands find themselves upon your face, and you realize that you are returned to your true form. The small, craggy, goblinoid flesh that has imprisoned you now for so long, replaced with the porcelain flesh of a young elven maid with dark hair. Dodalia Telquisar. You awaken from your trance. You are on the island outside. Teowin du Visfir, the kingdom of your people, of your house. an ancient bloodline that stretches far, far past the living memory of any who still walk material planes. The breeze flutters and your attention is drawn to a small statuary that is placed in the center of a fountain, in the center of this grove. The water trickles from a series of upturned vases that are held by beautiful, young, elven figures. There are two of them. They are back to back. And the water that flows from the vases that they pour forth from is perfect, clear, and it splashes down into the basin beneath, creating a soft, audible gurgle around you. What do you do?
Well, I'm done my trance, so I might as well go home. Is there anything peculiar about this fountain? Or has it been here all my life?
The fountain has always been there. You do not remember this grove without it. You turn to move back towards the pathway that will lead you back to the palace. And as you do, you hear a voice.
Oi, wake up, you!
Immediately, you feel a boot in your side.
Get up!
Your eyes open, and the beauty of that place is shattered. You are inside of a carriage that is shod in iron, thick metal plates with bars on the windows and a large wooden and iron-bound door that has been opened up. There is a very crude-looking man crouched over you. His boot has just found its way into your side, as there are no seats here. You are chained and shackled. The heavy metal weighs you down, and it's very hard to move. Both of your wrists have been fully encompassed in iron cups that have been locked into a pair of chains that hold you very, very still. You're unable to open your hands, and your mouth has been gagged with a strip of dirty linen that has been tightly tied. All of this in the fear that the rumors are true, that you are a goblin with powerful spell-casting abilities.
I want you to stand now, otherwise you'll be feeling my boot again.
I'd like to stand, please, and I do wish I could explain to this man that there truly is no need for such aggression.
Your mouth is bound by a dirty strip of linen. How do you do that?
I don't, I just wish that I could. So I just stand up. I try to smile at him, but I suppose that's also very hard with the linen in my mouth.
You attempt to smile. Go ahead
Probably
and
just
make
looks like this, doesn't it?
Yeah, make a persuasion check, because if you fail this, it's going to be taken as an aggressive snarl.
No. Persuasion?
You are a goblin. Yeah, persuasion. Yeah.
That's an 18.
You actually do pleasantly smile at the jailer as he looks down at you.
Oi, you must be mad. You ain't got no idea about where you are.
She just shakes her head.
He scratches the filthy, spotty stubble on the side of his plump face, and then shrugs, smiling with ugly, rotten teeth.
You're gonna find out soon enough.
And shoves you forcibly out of this cart. And you hit the ground and skin your knee, and you're lying in the dirt of a large courtyard. And that courtyard is surrounded by these heavy brick and iron gated walls. And there are sconces and torches burning everywhere, even though it's still fairly early. The sky is overcast, and you do see kind of this drizzle of rain coming down, and the dirt underneath you is becoming very muddy. You yourself are currently filthy. You are covered in the blood of the encounter that you found yourself in the middle of in the alleyway when that assassin from the grasping eye attempted to kill you. The reports are that there is a very dangerous goblin that has been apprehended, one with powerful magics. You found yourself now shackled, dirty, cold, tired, and alone, thrown onto the ground of this large courtyard. The armor-shod horse and carriage closes up as the jailer locks it up. He pats on the back of it with a big meaty fist, and it rolls off. And you can see that on his side he's got a big club, and he's got a sword, a short sword on the other side of his belt. Otherwise he's just wearing cloth armor, and you can see that the sigil of Waterdeep is emblazoned on the side of it on an embroidered patch. All around this courtyard, however, are armored members of the City Watch. And some are patrolling and walking along the scaffoldings on the top. Some are positioned down on the ground level with you, but you see, just with a quick count, no less than 50 guard.
That's a lot of guards.
There are some other individuals that are being rounded up in the center of this courtyard. They're various despicable looking individuals. Some of them are wearing dark leather armor, and you can see that they're having their weapons pulled from them and thrown into piles. There's a large wooden workbench, and there are a number of individuals that are armored in the same cloth armor as the jailer that has thrown you down, and they're currently gathering up weapons and items that have been pulled from any of the suspects that are currently being rallied within this courtyard. You're not the only individual, but they are giving you a special amount of consideration and space given the tenets of the crime that you've been arrested for. So you're on the ground, Doddle, and you are looking up at this jailer. What would you like to do?
I'd like to stand up and try and look as non-threatening as possible, which shouldn't be hard because I'm surrounded by all these ruffian-looking fellas and I look like a puppet.
Mm-hmm. And you've already made a pretty good roll on your persuasion, so I'm going to allow you to kind of ride on that.
Maybe they'll let me out early for good behavior.
That's interesting. So you stand and you try to look as innocent as possible. Your big floppy ears are kind of pressed down and your eyes are as wide as they could possibly go, looking like they might break into tear at any moment. However, while the guard the jailer seems to soften slightly, it really is more of like not having to worry about you as much. It's a bit of a you don't feel that there's much sympathy in his actions. There's just more of a relief that he doesn't have to deal with a horrible, evil goblin that has powerful spellcasting components.
I also don't know this man's story or history, so perhaps he's just having a rough day, or perhaps even a rough life, so I don't want to make it any harder for him than it already is. Perhaps that's why he's so aggressive and violent, it's because that's all he knows.
That is quite possible. He does not seem to have had an easy life, and you don't feel that anyone who has taken on this sort of position would have done so willingly or from anything other than a need for steady income. However, it is quite possible that there are those who are cruel, who enjoy being within the confines of a force of individuals that are sanctioned by the city to do villainous acts.
Oh, I never thought about that before.
So the individuals here, it's very dour, it's very cold, and it's very harsh. You're marched up to this wooden table, and you see a woman standing behind it in the same jailer soft cloth armor that the individual who woke you is wearing. And you can see that this man nods to her. Go ahead and make an insight check.
15.
She seems to be superior to most of the individuals here. And she has a very sharp, pinched, bird-like face, these small, dark eyes, and her hair is pulled back. It is shorn on the sides, and you can see a number of tattoos on them.
Also, just to be sure, it's bird-like and not literally a bird. Like, she's not a kakawa. Like, what are the bird things?
Aarakocra.
Aarakocra.
She is, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that actually. To be fair, in D&D, it's a very fair question. However, it's bird-like.
Okay.
She seems to be human, although you're not sure that she's full human. But she does seem to be human, at least in some capacity. She just has a hooked nose and a thin face and these small eyes that give her a bird-like appearance. She glowers down at you. She's very tall. She's probably around 6'2", and her thin fingers go to a series of scrolls, and she opens them, and she starts taking notes as she's observing you. Turn around, please.
I do as I'm told. Do a little spin.
There's this hardened criminal who has like half of his face like shorn off by what looks like a horrible knife fight wound, and like wearing an eye patch and all these filthy rags, and just looks like a typical pickpocket. He looks down at you, and just so many of the individuals here kind of seem off-put by how adorable this goblin is acting in the middle of this horrible, horrible place. Turn again, please.
Do another little spin.
She steps across on the other side of the table, places your hands onto the table, so it's kind of like for you, you're reaching up. Do not move. And she has in one hand a club, a wooden club. It's a small club. It's not like a giant troll club. It's more like a billy club. But she does have a wooden club in one hand, and she begins searching your pockets.
I don't move, but I'm starting to get a little nervous now.
She's pulling anything and everything that she finds in either your pocket, any belt pouches. They take your boots off, and you're standing in the mud barefoot.
There's nothing but bat poop in that pocket. I hope she doesn't look in there.
She definitely looks in there, and she pulls her hand out with the guano and just looks at you. She shakes it off. Fucking goblins. Do you have anything on you?
I'm bad at keeping track of my equipment. It says
Okay.
I have a broom of flying in here, but I don't think that's true. I mean, stuff.
I can think of so many situations where a broom of flying would have been deeply helpful.
Right? I know, right? I really need to go through my character sheet at some point.
He's literally had it there since the first session, and every time I'm like, you don't use that broom of flying as much as you should.
I don't really know why I have it. There's no reason why I should. I think it was a D&D Beyond thing. Anyway, from the top of my head, she's got, her currency, the elvish currency. She's got her cookbook.
How much elvish currency do you have?
That's another thing I really need to keep track of better. I picture like a good amount, because she would have as I imagine she grabbed a big handful in the royal palace of Teowin on her way out. So I would imagine not like a fortune, but a good amount.
By the gods, you hear her say as she pulls this velvet pouch out that has this beautiful elvish embroidering on the side, and just dumps this pile of elvish, thin, very frail, beautifully wrought coin across the table. You have been stealing, haven't you?
You shake my head.
I ain't never seen a goblin with this sort of coin before. You'll be swinging soon enough, I'm sure. And continues to pick through your pockets.
That is so good.
We've established that you have a bunch of elven coin. Your cookbook, she pulls that out of a pocket and is just kind of like surprised when this large tome is pulled out of this goblin's coat and drops it.
Is my coat like Mary Poppins' bag? I can fit things in the
It
pocket.
sort of is, although we haven't established that it's really exactly magical yet, but you definitely have been carrying a lot of large, bulky items in it. But then again, you're such a small goblin, and this coat is so big that I could see it working in your favor. She does pull out the tome, the cookbook, and drops it down and like looks at you like, oh, now that, of course, it's a goblin. There's a cookbook. There's elvish, coin. There's bat poo. It's all making sense now. So as actually dangerous as that book is, looking at the cover of it, she just seems to write it off immediately and just kind of drops it there on the table. What else do you have in your pockets?
I picture, just for narrative reasons, she has a small elvish lantern, but I guess this would be the first time that's making an appearance. Other than that, it looks like I have amaryllis. Where did I get that? A bell, a block of incense, rations. I have a spell scroll, string. Oh, cool! I have a sword.
All of those things are removed from your coat.
I also have my old clothes, so I have Doddalia's old dress in there. It says clothes fine.
Yeah, and it hurts your heart a little bit as the gown is pulled out from your coat and just kind of thrown onto the dirty table, and rain is sputtering down upon it, and you see it like getting damp in the drizzle that is falling from this open air courtyard. So all of your things are splayed out before you, and your boots are taken off, and they're also put there. And this pinch-faced, bird-like woman, this jailer, she stands up and she walks over to a series of boxes that are on a cart off to one side, and looks back at you. Halfling size it is, then. At least you'll be wearing something that fits. And grabs a tunic and a pair of breeches and a pair of sandals and thrusts them into your hands. Follow me.
I follow.
She walks into a curtained area, pulls the curtain. You and her are standing there, and she crosses her arms. You may change now.
Is there anywhere that I can go that's out of sight, or is this they just go watch me change?
She just glowers down at you.
I don't want to shake my head because she's gonna get mad at me, but there's no. Is there like furniture I could find or something?
She leans over, and you can hear armor moving around outside of these curtains as well. You know that there are guards that have kind of like come in close that aren't in here with you, but you hear that they're nearby. She leans down and she takes out some keys and she unlocks your hands from these cups. And for the first time you pull them out and you can feel your fingers again. She stands back up and crosses her arms.
You know when you get changed in a sleeping bag?
Yeah.
And when you go camping, I'm gonna attempt to put the rags over top and then get out of my coat.
I've never met a shy goblin. There's a first for everything.
Doddle gets all blushy.
So you do manage to pull this tunic over and then use that to cover yourself as you pull your coat and all the other parts of your outfit off. And she takes all of it. And now for the first time, you're wearing clothes that do actually fit.
I do another spin!
You really have these knobby knees and elbows and these long, big hands, and your head is oversized and your shoulders are small. But this outfit, this tunic, is just tattered, old burlap, okay? And there's like a rope belt that's holding it all up, these breeches. And you can see that they're threadbare and there are patches all over them. But you do, for the first time, have clothing on that doesn't hamper your movement, but also doesn't conceal the truth of what you look like.
Oh.
So you spin. The jailer just kind of shakes her head and throws the curtain back and walks back out to the table. All of your things from another jailer have been gathered up, and you can see that they've been put into a wooden box, and there's a piece of scroll that has been tucked into a leather sheath on one side, and the whole box gets slid down the table and is grabbed by another of these jailers, who walks it over to an area, a door with a set of keys, unlocks it and walks through, and you lose sight of it.
I am still optimistic, so I'm sure I'll get my stuff back once I explain to a authority figure what happened.
As soon as you step out of the little changing tent, the jailer stops, leans down, and clasps your hands right back into those metal cuffs. So they're completely covered again. Your mouth this entire time has been still gagged. It's not so tight as it is dangerous. In fact, you feel like with your teeth you could probably cut through it if you had to. But it is certainly hampering any sort of speech. So if you were to do that, if you were to try to cast a spell or something like that, it would certainly not work out for you. Doddle, you're gathered up and you are marched with a number of the guard of this keep into a long stone hallway. And it's very cold and dank. There are these suits of armor that are surrounding you, these very ancient suits of armor, and there are torches that are burning brightly and small candelabras that cast this flickering firelight in this very dark place. And the stone around you is heavy and oppressive, and it looks slick and wet. The guards stop at a desk that is on the far side. We are moving the prisoner. Do we have an assignment for this lot? Aye. Words come from the Magister himself. Be taking this one all the way up. If any of that magic ends up occurring here again, they'll be able to ensure that they can handle it. Looks down at you with like a squinty eye, the old man behind the counter, and the guards kind of gently press you forward. They're each holding halberds, so you feel a push with the stick end of that weapon on your back as you're marched up a set of spiral stone staircases. And you walk up what seems like 12 flights of stairs. It seems to go on forever.
My little legs are getting a little tired.
Every once in a while, they stop at a landing and keys are brought out, and there are no less than 4 big iron gated doors that you are led through. And finally, they stop at another area that has a landing. There are a couple of doors here. And somewhere in the distance, from an open doorway that leads down into another section, you hear screaming.
coming! It's coming! It's coming! It's coming! It's coming!
One of the guards closes the door and locks it, and it becomes very quiet. Opens another door, and you can see that at the desk there is a younger woman who is also garbed in the heavy armor of the City Watch, who is sitting behind the desk, cutting up an apple, and is looking at you as she's eating this apple with a knife. The door is unlocked, and you're led up a final set of stone stairs. And you can see that there are rooms on either side of you that are also caged. And you see a box with all of your things. It's been brought here. And you see one of the jailers in the soft cloth leather armor pick up that box and take it into one of these rooms, locking it behind them. As you do, you see this strange green glow kind of pulsing from the room that it's taken into. It's a strange feeling that works its way across you. Go ahead and make an Arcana check.
That's your 20! Is it Oaken, Dad? Is that what the green glow
You
is?
sense you don't because you've never encountered it before, so you don't recognize what it is. You have no idea. This is the first time that you've come in contact with it. However, Doddle, you do sense a strong, very definite sylvan energy. Something very powerful and of the natural world is being held captive in that chamber along with your cookbook. As your head kind of turns that way, you feel the butt of a halberd shove you forcibly through the big door in front of you.
Keep moving,
I do.
little freak.
And they push you through the door as these two rough guard march you in, and the clatter of keys accompanies them. Juniper, your eyes open. You have been sitting, meditating in the far corner of the cell that they have put you within. There is fresh straw that has been tossed across the space. They have given you 2 meals a day for the past 3 days, and they are bowls of either cold porridge and cups of questionable water, or a very greasy stew filled with hard root vegetables and very thin slivers of meat that are tough and not appetizing. There is a bucket in a corner for you to attend to yourself. The iron bars, the stone wall, the small sliver of a window that shows you the world outside. That is all that you have had in this dark cell. But across the way is an empty cell, and you see torchlight flicker as a pair of the guards, the jailers, enter into the space, pushing a small, knobby-kneed goblin with big floppy ears. Pushed kind of forcibly in. You fall forward, Doddle, and once you're in, they lock it. They look back to you, June.
Are you enjoying the amenities, witch?
Which? Then she just closes her eyes and ignores him.
They chuckle as they walk out, and you hear the clattering of keys. And on the far side, there is a low burning torch. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of light in here. But you do see each other, these little faint silhouettes across from each other. And it's very quiet for a moment. And Doddle, you then hear something rustling in the straw behind you, and a rat darts out past you and runs into the hall past through the cage.
Oh, wait, come back. Oh, that's okay. He's got somewhere he needs to be.
And I guess you hear that, June?
Oh, wait, I haven't said anything yet, so all you hear is like a weird...
It's because I'm trying to chew on the gag in my mouth, because I didn't take that off yet, right?
Nope.
Roll anything.
No.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you do hear these weird noises for a while, June, and then about 2 minutes later, you manage to chew your way through it. It's not that difficult. You spit it out.
Mind you, June rolled her eyes the second she heard the gurgling sounds.
I'd like to go up to the edge of the cage, please. Hello?
She ignores her.
I imagine you're probably not in the mood to talk. That's okay. You've probably been through quite the ordeal if you've landed in a place like this. Are you in the mood to listen? If you're in the mood to listen, continue to be silent.
You're a very talkative goblin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to shut up? I could do that too.
I'm not gonna tell you to shut up.
But you want me to. You could say it in many different ways. You could say, please be quiet. I've had quite the traumatic experience today, and I'm just not in the mood to communicate at the minute, and I could listen to that too. Or you could just say, please stop. That's fine. You could also tell me to shut up. I'm tougher than I look. I could probably take it.
I'm looking you up and down, Doddle. You're very interesting to me right now, and you can kind of tell.
Doodle spin.
She rolls her eyes at that, still in, and closes her eyes again.
Meanwhile, elsewhere within the city, the rainy streets of Waterdeep in the southern ward surround you. You're walking very quickly, Maglo. There is a sheen of sweat across your brow, and your glasses are fogged and covered in a small spattering of rain. Busby is hanging on to your back, desperately trying to keep up with you as you have been rushing through the streets somewhat aimlessly. You continue to walk through the streets as Hawke is clambering behind you, much slower in his armor, but you hear the clatter of it as he marches. Maglo, I think we've got to do something soon. We can't just walk around the city all day. Do you have a plan?
No, I was kind of hoping one would come to me if I just kind of busied my body, then hopefully my mind would catch up as well. Okay.
Where the gods is Siraye?
Fuck. Does Siraye know anything about the Golden Ale or where we're going?
I'm pretty sure she doesn't.
Fuck.
You're always talking about how you're the smartest man in the room. Well, we could really use some of that right now.
At the minute we're outside and the room is pretty fucking big.
No, really funny. And he kind of like turns his back.
I thought it was alright. Use a hand if you have anything to go on. That'd be great. Alright. Okay. Hi, Hawke. Do you know the people are hunting us down at the minute and maybe shouting out a member of the party isn't the best fucking idea, is it?
Well, you were the one who wasn't coming up with any ideas. At least I was doing something and not just standing around. Well, you don't even understand, Doddle. You don't even know what's going on here.
I don't think any of us fucking understand Doddle, considering she stole the fucking box and then ran away and got herself arrested. How do you do a jailbreak? I have never done a jailbreak before. There's only fucking 2 of us at the minute.
which is exactly why I'm saying we have to find Siraye wherever Siraye is. She'll know.
Why, she fucking would as well. That's what's annoying.
You don't think that she just took that treasure chest and ran, do you?
Oh, well, now I do, Hawke. Fucking hell. Best case scenario, Doddle is going to be fine. We're going to be able to get her back really easy. Siraye has gone off, found a buyer who's buying like fuckloads of money, and we're gonna find out the group that's hunting us, and we're gonna be able to take him out super easy, and we can all in like 3 days go back to life as normal. The worst case is Siraye's run off with the money, Doddle's been captured with no hope of getting out, and there is a group who are far superior to us in strength who are hunting us down. The most likely is really, really close to the worst case scenario. Didn't the guy tell you about a place where we're supposed to be going?
Well, yeah, Fiddle Scratch gave me this, and he shuffles through his pouches and pulls out a small scroll and hands it to you.
Open the scroll.
Inside, in very, very perfect calligraphy, is an address, and it says 1372 Way of Eternity, City of the Dead.
Okay, and this is like a hideout. We can go here. He gave you this for us to go.
He said that was his contact and that they would keep us safe, but that we wouldn't like it.
We're like, anything's going on right now, Hawke. Let's be honest. Right, that's good. We have a place to go. Siraye doesn't understand what's happening to Golden Ale. Maybe we do go back, but we try and remain hidden and wait for Siraye to kind of come across us and then go.
I mean, that's where she's going to go. So if we want to find Siraye and she doesn't know where we are, this city's enormous. There's no way that she's going to be able to find us. I mean, unless she has some sort of magical ability that we don't know about. And given all the secrets that get kept by this group, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it's stupid. They're going to be expecting us there when we were leaving. People are grabbing weapons. They're hunkering down for an attack. One that we are the targets of. So
we stay out of sight.
Busby's going to go. Busby's going to go. And we're going to go to this address, this Way of Eternity place. Busby is going to lead Siraye back to where we need to go. Siraye's seen Busby. She's not.
Yeah, but
not friendly with any of us.
Is
but
Busby
she knows.
just going to lead her back to us, or like how's Busby going to know?
Well, Buzz. And he holds the script up. Like, right? Do you know this? Can you lead Siraye here? Can you do that? I don't know if he can do it, but he might be able to. He's done weirder stuff.
There's a scanning of light across the paper as this little, like, it splays out into 2 points of light, and it illuminates the script, and every letter kind of glows for a moment and then fades away as Busby continues to kind of float in front of you, and then looks to you with that one blinking eye.
I need you to go to the Golden Ale and wait for Siraye. When you see her, I want you to try and lead her away and lead her to this address, okay? Okay, hey, that's one problem sorted. That's great.
Oh yeah, great. The blinking light toy is going to help us all here. I trust.
I'm
no
sorry,
offense,
blinking
Busby.
light
No
toy.
offense. No, I'm just saying. Like, I no offense, Busby, but you have to realize we're putting a lot of weight on a blinking light.
If you want a better fucking solution, maybe fucking pray on it. But you're not. You're relying on me. So you're gonna listen to me, and we're gonna go do what I'm doing. Okay?
You don't even understand.
You're so I don't give a fuck. Okay? We're gonna go and do my plan, and if you had a better one, you wouldn't be asking me for it, would you?
Well, I may put my faith...
Oh, the lip stopped now, is it? The lip has stopped as soon as you fucking know. Right, we're going. I'm done with this fucking conversation.
Maglo, I hate you.
What?
And he just keeps walking. He's like, his head is down. He just walks past you and is just walking down the street. You don't even know if he's going in the right direction. Siraye, you are in your cart. You have left the treasure chest with your contact, Rosie Glimmer Spark. The information that you're coming away with illuminates the gravity of the situation, but you yourself are oblivious to everything that has happened back at the tavern. And you're moving through the streets. It's a rainy day. The old draft horse that is pulling you through the streets, Siraye, is a ragged, spotted creature with these sad brown eyes that droop down and these furry hooves that are covered in mud and filth. This animal has a scraggly mane, and you can see his ribs as he kind of clops forward, pulling you through the streets. Part of this is from the age of the creature. You get the sense that this horse is much older than most horses would be kept in service. But for whatever reason, it was what the Grasping Eye had chosen to use in delivering the shipment of cockatrices across town. And while you and your companions liberated this draft horse, you're starting to realize that this horse is fairly sturdy given its appearance, and although it was clearly mistreated by its former ownership, that it is in fairly good health given its age. So this sad draft horse is pulling you through the streets, and the rain is like drizzling across you. The city stretches out before you. Waterdeep is a network of buildings that are stacked upon other buildings. And currently you are riding through the southern ward. Now, the southern ward of Waterdeep is a very rough part of town. It is one of the main entrances to the city itself, and it is neighbored by Dock Ward, which is the worst neighborhood in all of Waterdeep, well known for the underworld activity that occurs there. But the Southern Ward is effectively a series of living quarters and mercantile areas. A lot of the guilds for merchants operate here because it is one of the main gateways that lead into Trade Ward, and everyone who passes into Waterdeep from the southern reaches of the Sword Coast make their way through the southern gates. And so while it is a difficult area, it is teeming with life. You smell a great number of hearty foods and breads being baked within various restaurants and small carts that are lining the road. There are individuals who are selling any number of rare fabrics, materials, gems, raw materials mostly, that could then be used to craft other things. This area specifically is like a wholesale district that has all of the parts that someone might need to build anything that their imagination could encapsulate. If you were looking for finished goods, you would probably make your way to the Trade Ward. Although there is a fair number of silk dealerships and other things where you could find rarefied fabrics there as well, the Southern Ward is much more gritty, and it operates on so many different levels as both a place where much of the underworld lives, as well as busy streets that operate. However, the one universal truth of the Southern Ward of Waterdeep is that this is one of the places where the poor find themselves. It is the root of the tree from which the wealth of the city trickles downward. And the branches here in Waterdeep are very thirsty. There is a certain amount, for you at least, of comfort to be found here, because the pomp and the circumstance of other areas within Waterdeep don't exist here. The common folk struggle day to day, but their struggle is genuine, and there's no malice or guile within it. Some are willing to do whatever it takes to survive. And to be sure, the underworld thrives here because many of the common folk find that the individuals in charge of the gangs and the criminal factions take better care of the small folk than the lords themselves. So you're pushing through these streets, and you hear the cries and the bustle of life around you. It's a constant din of activity. There are people everywhere. And as you're traveling through the street, you nearly pull the reins back out of surprise, stopping your carriage. On the small cul-de-sac that held the tavern, smoke rises up into the air. There are shouts, and you see the griffins circling overhead. In front of the cul-de-sac itself, a number of City Watch have erected a barricade. And just beyond that, you see the burnt remains of the tavern that you and your companions have recently spent your time recuperating within. You see no faces that you recognize, and the building itself has been leveled. There doesn't seem to be anything other than smoldering ash and broken beams and shingles in a horrid pile of black.
So I don't see anyone. I don't even see like Fiddle Scratch or like any of the other patrons of the tavern like looking on and like, you know, crowding around to see what's happened, or people crying even.
There's a small crowd of individuals from around this district that are pushing in out of curiosity, but you don't recognize any of them. There are crowds here, and when people pass by, they pass by either on the other side of the street, which makes this whole area much more congested, or the people that are moving in and out seem to be official of some sort. You do see a number of blue-cloaked wizards and a number of well-dressed noble folk that you assume are part of the official inquiries as to what might have happened here. They may be part of the inquisitions that occur. And they are also moving about, talking with a number of armored guards and a few what look like perhaps more common folk that are specifically clearing rubble and digging through.
Okay.
Ostensibly searching for bodies.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna pull my cart up, but I'm not gonna park it on the street. I'm gonna park it like down an alleyway close by.
Okay.
Like maybe like right around the corner, so I can see it too. I don't want to not be able to see it. I'm gonna tie up the horse to like the gutter pipe, and then I'm gonna put on my cloak of elvenkind, which makes me a little more inconspicuous in this crowd, and I'm going to approach the tavern, the burnt tavern, and I'm going to specifically try and get close enough to the guards but still like look like I'm part of the onlooking crowd, so I can kind of hear them talk and see if I can hear them say something about what happened or what they think happened.
I want you to make a stealth check with an advantage.
hopefully I'll, actually be a good rogue.
Knowing us, that won't happen.
Ah! Suck it! Look at that nat 20, baby!
All right, you have a natural 20.
Oh no.
Lucky 13. Yeah, lucky 13.
Yeah, lucky 13, but no second nat 20.
Yeah. So
I imagine Siraye is like Assassin's Creed, like somehow made it look like she's like a part of like some of the old lady chicken old ladies that are like gossiping in the corner, like.
Oh, I remember seeing all those all weird people going in there. I'm not surprised it got burnt down. It was a shady place.
And like Siraye's like kind of like integrated with these like cackling old ladies, gossiping and stuff. That's like really close to the guards.
You begin slipping into the crowd. You have your cloak close to you, Siraye, and you just blend in perfectly, disappearing entirely.
Perfectly.
And no one seems to notice you. You're moving behind a mother and her 2 children that are like grabbing at her skirts as she kind of pulls forward, holding a bundle of groceries with her. You hear one of the kids go, "What happened here?" No, dear. We don't look at that. Go, let's go across the street. And they start moving across as they try to divert themselves from the crowd. You immediately hop from that mother over to a small merchant who is currently trying to shill off a series of large bottles that have a very harsh smelling fruit punch in them. It smells like soured plum.
Okay.
And you're behind this merchant as that cart kind of wheels forward, and the creaking of the wheels help conceal your approach even more. And you make your way right up to the corner that leads back into the cul-de-sac. Now, this is about the furthest that you can go without taking greater risks. And you see that the guards are all lined up. But as you kind of hide behind this cart, as the merchant starts shilling this plum wine, you hear perfectly what the guards are saying just a short distance away.
We're gonna be here forever. I can't handle it any longer. It's been 4 hours already.
Can you imagine the whole thing, Bat?
I ain't never gone in there. It's a fancy place, even for the Southern Ward. Ain't many who would go into a place like that. They had clean napkins and all.
Yeah, it was pretty clean. Still looked nice.
Yeah, well, doesn't look nice now.
And the 2 guards kind of chatter on for a while. How long are you going to stay here, listening to these guards?
I mean, if their conversation isn't going anywhere with like, who else is around? Like, is there like an inspector around, or is there like a captain that's like?
You do see some official people and somebody who might be nobility. There is a man in a purple and gilded golden cloak, wearing a mask, talking to a number of what you assume to be higher-ranking city watch. But they are further into the cul-de-sac near the remains of the shattered fountain. The statue is toppled over and broken. And
wait, hold on. This person with the mask. Can I roll an insight on that?
You may.
Oh, 10.
Well, you don't need to get high to be able to realize that it's either a masked lord or somebody associated with the masked lords.
Okay.
Not everybody who wears a mask is of that level. Either this is very important because a masked lord wouldn't show up in the Southern Ward for a burnt down tavern unless it was crucial. If this is somebody of that level of nobility, I mean, that would be one of the leaders of the city, and the city's so large. That's almost insane to think about the level of that would be like the mayor of a town showing up at a normal fire, right? You don't know for sure if that's who this is.
Okay.
However, your assumption is that they must be associated.
They're associated somehow, if not. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna whip out my disguise kit.
All right.
And I'm going to. I have a really nice old lady sculpted nose that's like big, and I have a couple things to make my skin look old and wrinkly, and I'm going to disguise myself as an old person.
Okay, so you do so.
I'm at this merchant cart, right? I'm gonna grab like some sort of like canvas, like fabric that might be there, and I'm gonna cover myself to make it look like an old ratty cloak, so that way my colors my clothing doesn't look the same either. And
make a performance check with an advantage.
Give me that advantage, please. Yes.
All right.
Unnatural 20.
So, your disguise is very accurate. You're performing the part correctly, and you start moving around.
I found like a stick, so I can make it look like a cane. And I'm gonna go up to like the line, and I'm gonna try and wave down the masked lord. Be like, yeah. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me, and like be panicked and sir, please, my
The two guards that you were listening in on immediately come up to you. Is there a problem here?
Young man,
Mom, please calm yourself. The tavern is not going to be open. Most likely forever.
No, my daughter was staying here, and I was coming to visit, and please tell me that she's all right.
You want to take it? I don't know.
How did this happen?
Mom, please, breathe. I'm sure your daughter is perfectly fine. There's no need to be concerned. What we wish for you to do is find the lieutenant over there and explain to... Yes, go to Lieutenant Eckelberg. Find him and speak with the lieutenant over here, please.
All right. So that one over there with the purple gowns, or sorry.
No.
My sight is so poor.
Yes, your sight is poor. Here, I'll take you over there.
Thank you.
So the guard actually ushers you over, and you see an older man with a long gray mustache.
Okay.
And a shaved head. Is a lieutenant within the guard, has all the various markings on his armor, and is kind of barking orders to a number of the individuals around.
Okay.
What do we have here?
Excuse me, young man.
Yes, ma'am.
My daughter, Lilith, she was staying here, and I was coming to visit, and please tell me that she's all right. And
I'm sorry to say, ma'am, please. He takes your hands and cups them. I need to make a perception check. Okay. He takes your hands and he cups them. I need you to remain calm. Please breathe, ma'am. He places his hand on your shoulder. Now, this establishment has been burnt. There was an accident. However, our understanding is that everyone who was inside was evacuated before it burnt. Only a few individuals were still inside, and to our understanding, they were the tavern staff and keeper. Now, we are certain that they did not make it. But your daughter, Lillian, you say? Lilith.
Yes.
Lilith would have easily been removed as soon as the trouble started. I don't know that I should tell you this, but I will. We believe that there was foul play, that this was not a natural fire, which means that your daughter would have been removed by the staff. So I think your daughter is just fine.
However, everyone else inside, we must attend to them. So I need you to go, and I need you to go home and wait for your daughter to return.
Oh, well, how in the world could this be foul play? This is a nice establishment. My daughter Lilith made sure that she booked stay at a nice establishment so these sort of things wouldn't happen.
I do not question your daughter's choice in establishment to stay within. Her reputation would have been very well maintained within this place. I have attended many revelries here myself, and I'm sorry to see it go. But I can promise you that the individuals inside would have allowed no ill to come to any of their guests, including your daughter. So all you must do is go home and wait. I will take your name and address, and I will come to see you personally.
Oh, well, would tell me that is there a place that any of the survivors are staying? I could just go there. I'm so sorry, sir. This is my only daughter, and it would be horrible to lose her. And
I agree, it would be. But I do not believe your daughter is in any danger. I believe that you simply need to wait for her. And if in a few hours you do not find her, I will be there and we can discuss it again. Please, give me your full name.
Marion Sarandis?
Marion Sarandis. How do you spell Sarandis?
Serandis.
Very well. And what is your address?
Well, you see, that's part of the issue. I'm getting old, you see, and Lilith was going to take me to live with her out of the country.
Out of the country.
Out in the country.
But you were going to meet Lilith here. But I thought you said that you live.
I recently.
She didn't return home. You have a home. Are you confused?
No, I'm not confused. I lost my home, sir.
You lost your home.
Yes, I was unable to. I'm old. I couldn't keep paying rent. My daughter was in town to help me move in with her.
All right, I need you to make a deception check. And
I can't believe that we think Siraye is the most serious character in this game.
You have a disadvantage because of the horrible tap dance you just did.
What the hell was that horrible? That was so good. I
have a home. I don't have a home. We're leaving the country. Anyone with any kind of police training is going to clock you.
No, I didn't say we're leaving the country. I said we are moving out to the country where she lives.
Okay.
He asked you for your address, and you said, "Well, that's hardly the point."
After telling him that she didn't return home. So I'm telling you have a disadvantage. So please roll your deception.
This is so funny.
Okay, 18.
Where's your home?
Oh.
I'm old.
You got an 18 even with your.
No, that's my first roll.
Oh.
No, your first one I see a deception of 22.
Suck it.
Oh, beautiful.
A natural 20.
I don't need my identification.
Roll for. Yeah, you know
okay,
what?
well,
You're welcome.
You got the natural 20. You can roll it again, and let's see if you get another natural 20.
I hope so. I actually hope so.
Please get 3 nat 20s.
Please.
If you get 3 natural 20s on this.
No.
No, you didn't. Well, listen, you don't take the natural 20, you take the lower, but it's still a 22. So that's more than enough to convince this now. Well, he was suspicious. Now he's very concerned about you. I am so sorry, ma'am. The stress of this situation must have caused you great grief. I am going to have 2 of my men take you into their care. We're going to take you to the city services house. And they will house you there until we can personally find Lilith. All right?
All right.
All right. You there. And points to one of the kind of callous city watch. I wish for you to take this fine old lady, this kind woman. No, please stop crying. This kind woman to the city services house near the magistrate's keep, and therein see that she is cared for until I can personally return with news of her daughter's return. Trust me, ma'am, no matter what it takes, I swear to you that I shall find Lilith and get to the bottom of this, no matter what it takes.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You'll be in the country before high harvest time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for your hard work and your dedication to this.
Yes.
I hope you find those monsters that would do such a horrible
Somebody
thing.
from across the courtyard shouts, "Lieutenant, you're needed." And you see a man in a red coat with a large brimmed red hat with a large feather in it. Perfectly sculpted facial hair and kind of dark eyes. And he stands there very regally in the center of this devastation. Are you done, Lieutenant? We have need of your services. Yes, sir. Yes, of course, Sternward. Inquisitor, I'll be right with you. And turns away from you and starts walking back. So the short of it, Siraye, is that 2 guards are now ushering you through the streets of Waterdeep.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna keep up the act and follow them. And when I see the best opportune moment, I'm going to lose them in a crowd.
All right. Stealth check. I'll give you the advantage because your charade has been very successful.
That's another nat 20.
You're going to pay for this. I swear.
How many is that? How many is that today?
That's been 3 for me today.
Okay, so but not in a row. So go ahead and roll again to see if you get another natural 20.
I am very scared to what this means
Get
to
out of
me.
here.
I know, right?
I'm over it.
I think that
There's only so much luck.
I feel that only
There's
10.
only so much
I
luck.
feel like it's that my luck is about to run out.
Is this because
Don't say that.
Or Maglo is just gonna get F for the rest of
Yeah,
the
because we share luck.
It's because Az
we
is
are the
not
scales.
with us. It's because Az is not with us.
That's true.
And the scales have been horribly tipped. All right. So, yeah. Well, you got a natural 20. Yeah, you slip. It takes about 5 minutes of walking through the streets with these guys. Neither of them are paying close attention to you. They see no threat here, and they're sort of off-put by the fact that they got called off of standing duty to walking duty.
An old lady, like.
Yeah, well, and that's just it too. Is that they're kind of like moving at a crawl's pace with you alongside them. So you do manage to slip out of their grasp pretty quickly, and you disappear into the crowds. And as you do, there is a blinking light that flies up out of the street right in front of you, out of the water. It kind of splashes forward, and you see Busby grasp onto your cloak and scan your face. And you see this light inside of your thing. And Busby seems to recognize you.
I'm gonna grab Busby like a bug. Busby, shut up! And I'm gonna try and duck it to the cart. I'm gonna
you duck into an alleyway.
Duck to where the cart is.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to work your way back. You've been walking through the streets with these goons for a while now, but you do manage to duck into an alleyway, and we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Juniper, you're sitting within your cell. And that small figure is still there. It's been a few hours. It's very quiet. Doddle, after a while, you've found yourself in a corner and you drift off to sleep.
That's That's the only reason why it's quiet right now.
You're back in that place. There's trees surround you, and the gurgle of that fountain is close by. However, this time, all of the trees and the leaves above you in this perfect garden, they seem cold. And you're shivering, as in your true elvish form, you open your eyes from your trance in the same position that you were in before. And there is frost across grass. And there are thin sheets of ice covering everything.
But didn't you say earlier that the weather in Evermead is kind of consistent?
I did.
That's bizarre.
June.
Oh no.
You've rolled a natural 20 on your perception. You did not confirm it, however.
That's fine.
You're sitting in your cell, and there's a plume of your breath that escapes your lips. And you shiver, realizing how cold it's gotten. And you caution just to look behind you. And while you can't see anything clearly in the dark cell, you see that small figure is currently huddled up into a corner. And across the bars is a thin sheet of ice.
Goblin? Goblin.
Doddle, Dodalia, you're standing now, and your hand is reaching out to the frozen fountain. The ice has formed where the beautiful elven figures were pouring this water, but it's now frozen ice that falls into a pool. And you reach your hand out, and you're about to touch this, and you hear June's voice break through it all, and you wake, and your hand is touching the wall of your cell, and you see a network of ice formed all around it. You're still encompassed in your metal shackles, but you've got them pressed forward, and there's ice that's forming around them.
Goblin. What are you doing?
Will you allow me to just melt the ice, or do I have to cast a cantrip for that?
As soon as you're aware of what's going on around you, the ice melts and turns to water.
I'm sorry if I caused you any kind of discomfort.
No. Are you good?
Is anybody?
She chuckles at that.
Yes.
She chuckles, but then she turns away from you. Maybe next time, whatever you're dreaming about, you should make sure it doesn't come out into the real world, okay?
I didn't intend for that, but I'll do better next time.
She feels bad. You don't have to do better next time. What kind of goblin are you?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not well versed on what kind of goblins there are.
She turns around. What?
What kind of witch are you?
She rubs the bridge of her nose in frustration. I am not a witch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not a witch. And I'm sorry for being irritated.
I'm sorry that I irritated you.
I don't know you. I don't know this. And June is clearly on the verge of a mental breakdown here.
Don't you need a second to breathe? Breathe in with me.
I need earth. I need earth. I need a goblin who doesn't know what type of goblin they are to explain that, because now I'm confused. But I don't care. But I don't care. But I'm curious. I'm a little curious.
Do you follow Sylvanas?
Why?
There is something in the room over there. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I'm sorry to pry.
What's your name?
Doddle, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
In what room exactly did you see this thing?
Can I point at it?
Okay, Doddle. You don't seem like a terrible person. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Juniper Creed.
That's a lovely name.
Thank you. It appears that I've been a little rough. I'm just very upset about the thing that's in the other room. Doddle. She puts her hands on the bars. Did you see a way out of here?
Not other than the way I came in.
Was there anything interesting about the hallway? Anything on the people who brought you in here, the guards?
Well, the architecture of this place is very lovely, and we passed a woman at a desk with the most beautiful eyes I'd ever seen in my entire life.
You know, I suddenly have the biggest headache, and June goes into the corner and she frickin' meditates.
You can make a religion roll if you like.
I would love to. Not Doddle already charming her way into my heart. Oh, man.
There's no roll for that. All right. You're not able to meditate very clearly. You feel disconnected. This building is full of dark sorrow. This keep is a jutting block of stone and metal, and being held within it, you feel even more separated from the natural world than you have in your time here in Waterdeep. And that is saying something, because Waterdeep as a city feels so removed from the natural world that it's hard for you to find your spiritual center here at all. But now, high in this keep, because you do have that slit of a window, and you can see when it's day and night, and you can feel a little bit of breeze coming through it, and you can hear very slight echoes of the city. You just feel removed, and so you can't find your focus, and you can now hear this goblin breathing.
And humming.
Yeah, humming and breathing. She probably has a deviated septum. It's
Doddle.
Yeah, I'm sorry, am I bothering you?
No. I'm gonna sit in front of these bars here and just stare at you for a little bit.
I'm gonna sit and stare too.
Make another religion check. You don't notice anything through your perception.
There's something off about this chick. 12.
Has anyone ever told you that you have some lovely jawbones? They frame your face very nicely.
Thank you. You have very...
You're looking at this goblin with big floppy ears, giant yellow eyes, and snaggle teeth. It's smiling broadly
She's
at
got
you.
blue eyes.
Blue eyes staring at you.
You have very interesting eyes. Look at me, Doddle.
I do.
You've never seen a goblin with blue eyes before.
Yeah. She clocked that for sure. Where are you from?
From the west.
From the west.
Mm-hmm.
You have beautiful ocean eyes.
No one's described me as beautiful in a while. Thank you.
Doddle, do you want to help me with something?
Sure. It depends on what.
Come closer to the bar. Go to your bar.
I get as far. I put my ear outside the bar, because I think that's all that'll fit.
Doddle, do you want to help get out of here?
I'm afraid not, Juniper Creed. I'm in a bit of a mess at the minute, if that is not abundantly clear, and I'm actually hoping that by going right to the top, even if by accident somebody here might be able to help me.
Do you trust people that much?
I don't not trust people, especially not ones I haven't met yet.
The door on the far end of this corridor, this block of cells, opens, creaks with a powerful strain as the large, heavy, ironclad door.
Can I just run to the gag that was in my mouth and I grab it and I like pull it across myself and cast mending? Please and thank you.
The only problem with that is that your hands are currently being shackled. So, real quickly, let's check the cantrip.
It says...
And is it just a verbal?
Well, it says touch. I can touch it with my tongue, right?
All right. So if it has a somatic component, which it does, you and also mending takes a little bit of time, I believe.
Oh, 1 minute. Okay, I can just hold it in. I just thought it'd be clever. I can hold it in my mouth.
Yeah. No, I like clever. Please don't ever stop coming up with clear ways. We just kind of
Maybe they'll
sort of
walk
stick
down
to the
the
rules.
hallway really slow.
No, they're not going to do that. But yeah, I think you are on the right track here with the way that you're thinking about this stuff. So absolutely great. But you do grab it up off the ground and you shove it into your mouth and you kind of like tossle it about to try to make it work. Let's have you make a sleight of hand check and see with a disadvantage to see if you are able to make this work in a way that it's not detected. No, 8. It's kind of pitiful. I mean, it's clearly it's been broken and you're just holding it in your mouth now. You look a bit like a dog with a chew toy. And there are some silhouettes from the chamber further down as the door opens inward, and a torch is lit from one of the sconces outside of the door, and an armored city watch comes in. This isn't like a lot of the city watches that you've seen. She seems to be of a higher station than many of them. Her armor is a little cleaner. Her uniform seems a little newer and crisper. And she walks in, her cape fluttering behind her as she lights torches throughout the corridor, and it immediately illuminates the entire space. She then walks out of the corridor and walks back in with 2 wooden chairs that she sets in front of your cell, Doddle. They're about 10 feet away from you. They're also about 10 feet away from you, June, but that's their backs would be turned to you for the chairs. And the guard then stands to one side by one of the sconces and holds their halberd at the ready. On the side of this woman guard, she has a sword and a wooden club as well. 2 guards enter first, dressed much like this other city watch, and they take positions in the room as well. There are now 3 guards that are holding position within this small block of cells. 2 men then walk into the room. The first is a very elegantly dressed man with a bright red coat and a large brimmed red hat with a dashing cut to it and a feather that drapes off of the back of it. He has a very finely manicured mustache and goatee that have been closely trimmed and well kept. He has very dark eyes and is glowering as he enters, carrying a satchel that is full of a series of scrolls and other material. Trailing just a few steps behind him is a girthy man with a roll of fat that absorbs his neck entirely. He has a spattering of patchy facial hair that is the parody of a beard, with dark hair that just kind of that is wiry and spirals out in various patches across his face. He has a bald head, and his hair that is crowned around the back of his head is slicked down and combed through in a way that plasters it to his skull. He has a bulbous nose and greedy, shifty little eyes that move about the room quickly. His fingers are covered in rings, and he wears a large, well-made blue robe with a series of tassets and scarves that are attached to it, all of them seeming to denote some sort of position within whatever organization he is a part of. There are a great many little glyphs and runes that have been etched along this robe, and whatever station this individual is from, it seems to be important. The 2 men enter, and they stand looking at you from within the cage. So you're the little goblin. You're the little troublemaker.
Well, I don't want to nod, because that denotes that I am the troublemaker, but I also can't say anything else. So I'm just gonna look very nervous, because this is a lot more intimidating than I first thought it was gonna be. Why couldn't I talk to the nice lady at the desk?
Please, why don't you make our guest a little more comfortable?
Oh, no.
And one of the guards steps forward and shuffles through some keys, unlocking your door, and then stepping forward towards you. What do you do?
I stand very still. Very nervous.
The guard goes to untie your restraint, your gag, and just pulls it out of your mouth and holds the scrap of cloth to the other 2 men out in the corridor. The large man kind of looks somewhat appalled, and the other man just continues to glower forward. The guard turns and leaves, locking the door behind them. June, you are seeing all of this. There are guards that are watching you closely. If you get too close to the bars, you hear them move away from the bars.
Put your hands up.
You have caused quite a stir. What do you have to say for yourself?
I apologize, sir. I didn't mean to. I think you'll find that with some explanation, this is all just a big misunderstanding.
You see, Archmage, as I said, things are not always as they appear. Our guest here has secrets. When have you ever heard a goblin with that refinement of their speech? Never indeed, my old friend. It is a rarity to even see one who will address you in the common tongue.
This isn't going great.
And so, I believe our friend has a very long story to tell us. Please, when you are ready, begin with your name. Oh, and should you feel the need to lie to us,
He reaches into one of his bags and opens a small wooden box that one of the guards immediately steps forward to hold. And he takes out a stone and sets it on the arm of the chair. It begins to hum as he speaks a word and moves his hand over it. This network of runes begin to glow on the stone, and it seems like just a simple river stone, like a flat, dark stone that is perfectly smooth on all sides, but it's got these little etchings on it that immediately begin to glow, and the stone just very, very audibly vibrates. And you immediately realize that there is some sort of magical energy attached to that. You can make an Arcana check if you like, both June and Doddle.
Heck yeah.
My hands are sweating.
What is with my rolls today, dude?
This
yeah.
This feels like a job interview, but like 10 times worse.
Why did Siraye take all my luck?
Yeah, I was about to say, sorry I took all those rolls, my bad.
I got a 17 though.
All right, you got a 17. This is some sort of artifact that is going to create an effect that operates as a zone of truth.
Great.
Meaning that your lies will be known.
Now then, why don't you begin at the beginning?
Go away, Lucy. I'm doing a very serious scene here, Lucy. You can't be crawling all over.
We'll come back to both of you.
Oh man, I love it.
I was gonna say, that sounded like our intro.
It was a callback. The NPCs are now shouting out the DM. That's how that works. Maglo. You and Hawke have been moving through the city. You've actually left the southern ward. You find yourself on the outskirts. You end up at this walled iron gate, and it is marked over the top, City of the Dead, in this beautifully wrought iron signage. The gates are open, and there are people who are flowing in and out of it. Some are in the black garb of mourning, consoling one another. Individuals carrying flowers, most likely to find their way to graves of their dearly departed. However, there are some carts and carriages and some other things that move through this space. The feeling that you get from this is it is a graveyard larger than most cities in the world. These tombstones and statues and mausoleums now, once you cross this boundary, stretch as far as the eye can see. And every once in a while, there are various buildings and mortuaries and temples that are held within the City of the Dead. But the City of the Dead itself doesn't contain many
institutions that are not specifically intended for the care and disposal of those who pass away within the city of Waterdeep. It is heavily patrolled as well. There are guards that walk through on regular patrols. You know from the things that you have learned through your studies, Maglo, that the City of the Dead exists specifically because of the danger that has been wrought upon the city over the many, many years of its existence from the forces of the undead. This is a sacred place, but it is also a place that can control and maintain the dangers that necromancy would wreak upon a larger city if there were scattered graveyards everywhere within its boundaries. Here, it is all controlled within a single section of the city, and the walls lead out into the wilderness just past it. And the Sea Ward, North Ward, and Castle Ward are all carefully positioned to be well enough away from the dangers that it would pose without some warning. That said, over the many centuries of its existence, Waterdeep has learned how to maintain and guard against the dangers here. And so you and Hawke have found your way here, having taken a carriage to the gates. You are walking through the streets of this enormous graveyard. Hawke seems distant, far away, unfocused. He doesn't seem to be paying attention. He's not arguing with you, and he's not really saying much of anything as his eyes take on everything around you. Part of you wonders if he's not more at peace here than he is within the city itself. What do you do?
I was kind of taking it in. It's quite a horrifying thing, but also this like magical and technological wonder. It's like with the amount of runes and general like magic and how the place came about. There's a lot to appreciate, but it's of course one of the most horrifying places you can go. Are there any, because of the pure size of the place, are there any people whose job it is to ferry people to a certain part? Like, oh, I want to go to this part, like I want to visit this grave, can you take me there? And then you pay a small fee and then you get taken.
Yes, there are a number of individuals who move about the city who offer services. They're referred to as guides, but it isn't in the same sense that you would expect in a large city and you were sightseeing. These are individuals who carry with them a knowledge of the layout of the city. And they also carry with them a large historical understanding of the more famous sites that are within this place. As terrifying as the City of the Dead is, there is something also beautiful about the construction of it and the idea that this is also a monument to the dead. As you and Hawke are kind of walking through the southern section of the city, hoping to catch someone, there are far less people here than there are anywhere in the city since you've entered. It's much less populated. There aren't people wandering the streets. There are absolutely no vendors selling anything, with the exception of an occasional cart that sells flowers for people to purchase flowers to pay their respect with, and that seems to be fairly limited. However, you do see an individual off to one side. It is a kinku. The individual has dark feathers and large dark eyes and a crooked beak. And they're wearing a set of shabby but finely tailored and fit coat and breeches with a
very plumage-like bow tied around their neck, and they waddle up towards you, and they hold up a small chalkboard sign that says "Guide" in the common tongue written upon it, and they look to you and kind of shrug.
Do you need a guide, or are you a guide?
Are you a guide?
No.
No. Are you a guide?
And it's almost
Yes.
like a strange echo of your own voice. And the Kinku nods to you.
MacLeod pulls out the scroll and then points to the address. Here?
The strange bird humanoid presses forward and pokes their beak kind of into your face as they're like putting their eye close to the piece of paper that you're holding up. Hawke has snapped out of it for a moment. You can see he has his hand on the hilt of his sword, and that raven-winged hilt is kind of grasped tightly in his gauntleted hand. We're looking for this address. Why don't you just take us there? We'll give you some coin. We'll give you some coin. The figure looks to Hawke and then back to you, and then holds out a feathered, kind of claw-like hand.
5 silver?
Make an insight check.
Do 5.
That is a little. That's fair.
I'm
That's
sorry.
Fair. That's a fair amount of silver. So the Kinku nods their bird-like head and holds out their hand again towards you.
MacLeod takes 5 silver out of his little pouch, gives it to the Kenku, then turns to Hawke and is like, I mean, there's not a much better place to hide a couple of dead men, is there?
I don't think you needed to overpay them like that. I don't know if you're trying to impress anyone, but there's no one here to impress.
I mean, I'm hoping that the more money it will keep him quiet. Not that you can get much out of a Kenku
Not
anyway.
that you can get much out of a Kinku anyway. The creature turns, and you're both walking after as the strange bird-like humanoid continues to kind of waddle off. They have a strange gait to their walk where they zigzag a little as they move. And from the back, you can see that their coat is fairly threadbare, but you can see that it's been stitched up in the back in a straight line. And Maglo, you're intelligent enough to figure it out. This suit was worn at some point by a dead man and has been stitched up in the back because the morticians cut the garb in the back and then wrapped the body in it. And so this suit has been taken from a dead person. And the Kinku continues to kind of like claw walk their way down this empty street that is lined with tombstones on either side, looking back to you from time to time to ensure that you're following after.
Maglo goes over to Hawke with like, can you keep your hand on the hilt of that sword, can you?
Don't worry. I will. I don't think this is going to end well for us. As the two of you kind of continue on. After a while, the Kinku stops and motions towards a street that kind of leads into an alleyway. It goes into a darker section where there are walls that are very closely built together for a number of very square-like, dark, old buildings. There's crenellation across the top as if it were a castle wall. There are these hideous, worn gargoyles that are perched on large pillars. And it goes all the way down, and you get the sense that this is all part of one larger building, and it almost feels like some sort of gated castle. Because at the very far end of it, there is a series of stone steps that lead up to large double doors that are wreathed in an open portcullis. It has an area to lead horses and carriages off, and you see on the far side of it a long black hearse, a carriage of gleaming black. There are beautiful brass fittings and silver fittings across it that are shaped like these delicate female spirits that are rushing forward as if they're carrying this carriage on their backs and whisking it forward. And there are 4 pitch black horses that are standing there with these dark black and purple tabards that are wrapped across them, the barding for these horses. And there are beautiful black leather straps that link them all together, and a yoke that breaks across with more metal, and it looks like another spirit that has reached out, like a woman with her arms outstretched, flying in front of this carriage. And
is this design like intricate work of the carriage? Is this like standard, or does this feel like this is a custom? Or
yeah, make a history check for me, please, Maglo.
14.
This is not standard. This would be used most likely by the nobility to usher their dead to their final resting places. This, I mean, given the amount of artistry within the working of this carriage, you imagine that only the very wealthy would be able to afford a ride in this. It would have to be someone who had great station within the city, because a common person couldn't dream, even living, of riding within one of these. But the horses are very calm and just stand there, unmoving, almost completely silent. And it's very discomforting because it doesn't feel quite natural. And it's very cold here, and you've realized that you're shivering as you've walked into this place. There is because of the spattering of rain, there is now this heavy fog and haze that hangs over the street itself, and the flickering of a few weak lanterns that are hanging across this courtyard. The Kinku doesn't enter into this street and turns to both of you, looking nervously over their shoulder, and motions for you to move forward. You're a guide.
Me? I'm not. No. You? Yes.
Hawke grabs you and starts pulling you into the street. Come on. We're here.
Okay, all right. First of all, fucking handsy, you can just say.
The two of you walk towards the doors, and you do see a small brass plate on the wall that has the address emblazoned upon it.
Hey, at least Maglo goes to make a witty comment and then just looks at Hawke. There's no chemistry between us, it's fine.
You pound on the door, and like there's a door knocker there, and it looks like a skull that is biting onto a ring.
I do not like dead shit, which is, I know, an unpopular opinion, but we are surrounded by it. Just puts me a bit on edge.
The door creaks open, and you see a tall, thin man with a gaunt face that is extremely pale. He has flowing white hair that is balding across the top, and it reefs around his neck, and he has this huge furred collar and these black robes that are very finely made but very coarse looking. Holding on to a lantern, he holds it out before him.
We're friends of Fiddle Scratch? Yeah, he said that you could help us.
And I am to aid you and your companions, yes?
Yes? Was this not spoken about before?
Follow me, please. He turns and begins walking into the large, blocky building. Do you follow after?
Mm-hmm.
He closes the door. I am Greaves Master Zia. It is fortuitous that you find yourself here at this time.
Very optimistic, man.
I'm Hawke, and this is Maglo.
Hi.
We're here because Fiddle Scratch told us that this was a safe place. Is it? It is safer here than anywhere within Waterdeep. This is the city of the dead. And you will find no other inhabitant of this place who's able to keep your secrets more closely. You see, the dead do not lie. Please, this way. The Graves Master turns and starts walking down the corridor. As he does, you see another figure standing in the shadows, taking the lantern from him. It is a small, twisted figure. They have a hunched shoulder and mismatched arms, one of which drags to the ground, and short, stubby legs that waddle forward. The patchwork, dark brown and black cloak that is wrapped around this figure conceals most of their face, but you see an enormous, watery blue eye underneath all of it, and horrid, twisted scars. Thank you, Besmit. We'll be taking our guests now into the crypts. The figure says nothing and begins walking in front of all of you, leading you down a series of stone spiral staircases.
So what's your deal then? What do you do here? Are you...
I am a servant of the people. I usher those who need my services into the afterlife. I shepherd the poor souls that lose their way. I am a Graves Master, a simple profession, but one I take great pride in. And you, young scholar, what exactly is your, how did you put it, deal?
I'm a scientist, alchemist. I want to do the opposite of your job. I want to get souls that ain't ready and put them back here.
I wish you well. And the Graves Master stops, takes out this huge ring of keys, and unlocks a large gate. And you see another set of dusty stairs that lead down even deeper. You realize you're going far, far underneath the city streets now. You're in at least a sub-basement, maybe 2 layers below. And as you were passing through these hallways, you saw a few well-made doors that were closed, but you saw one door that was open, and it had a very lush reading room with a fireplace. And though it looked very cold and Spartan, the pieces of furniture that were in there were extremely well made. However, as you go further and further down, it does feel as if you are entering into a series of crypts.
Where are we staying? Have you got like a second house down here, or?
Well, Fiddle Scratch said that we'd be safe. He didn't say that we were going to be here. Fiddle Scratch says very little that Fiddle Scratch doesn't feel the need to reveal at the time. He is an old companion, a friend, you might say. However, if I had a copper for everything that Fiddle Scratch didn't tell someone, I would be quite wealthy indeed.
Great.
Here we are.
Long spider-like fingers kind of motion you into a crypt. There are a number of gateways. There are large metal bars that close various areas off, and then there are inset graves with the corpses of the dead, long since passed. Skeletal, dusty figures rest in these insets within the walls. And in the center is a large, flat stone tablet, and there are a series of rolled blankets and some bedding and a small box with bottles of water in it, and a couple of jugs of wine, and a couple of boxes with dried breads and meats inside of it as well, and a single roll of cheese.
This is the extent of the services that we are able to provide individuals in your specific sort of trouble. You do, of course, understand that the courtesy that you will impart upon us here is a certain amount of discretion. I have spent my entire life here within the city, plumbing its depths and ensuring that my place within it is secure. It will not do to have a number of misguided youths causing disturbances in the sanctity of this place. Please, respect the dead around you. Harm no grave. And Besmit and myself will see that you are taken care of until such time as you are able to once again move freely about the city. Do we understand one another?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We do have others who will be joining us. They will be accounted for as they arrive.
We can just come and go as we please, as long as we don't let everyone know that you're here.
If you wish to leave, you will do so through the sewers in front of you. There are pathways that will lead you out and away from the sanctity of this place. I would expect you to only use this passageway in the most grave of situations. Please, do not use it frivolously. There are many who would seek to find their way here.
All right. Maglo goes over and picks up one of the blankets. All right, it ain't the worst place I've slept in.
Yeah, I mean, after having been in the... Never mind.
Hawke just kind of like kicks around some of the bedding. Both the Gravesmaster and Besmit leave up the spiral staircase, and as they do, you hear the clattering of that large iron gate and the locking of it as a number of keys rustle together far above you. Did he just lock us in here?
Yeah, that worst case scenario is seeming way more like the one we're actually in, huh?
You have very interesting eyes. Look at me, Doddle.
You do.
You've never seen a goblin with blue eyes before.
Yeah. She clocked that for sure. Where are you from?
I forget which way. No, east, but
From the west.
From the west.
Mm-hmm.
You have beautiful ocean eyes.
No one's described me as beautiful in a while. Thank you.
Doddle, do you want to help me with something?
Sure. Depends on what.